The news broke with the suddenness of a thunderclap on a still night. On September 11th, the entertainment world was jolted to its core as word spread that beloved Chinese actor and singer Menglong had died under mysterious circumstances. What first seemed like a tragic accident quickly spiraled into a whirlwind of speculation, grief, and anger. And now, in an extraordinary twist, Chinese police have staged a live reconstruction of the scene of his death, only to reveal a confession that has stunned the nation. Zhang Yuxuan, once a rising figure in the industry's inner circles, has admitted to playing a role in the fall of Menglong, and his words have shaken the very foundations of celebrity culture in China. This is not just another tragic obituary. It is a story of stardom and shadows, of glamour and jealousy, of a life celebrated on stage and screen only to be cut short in the most horrific of ways. As the reconstruction unfolds live before millions of eyes, the world holds its breath, waiting for every word from the investigators, every revelation about what really happened on that fateful September night. Menglong was no ordinary star. To his fans, he was the embodiment of a modern Chinese leading man, handsome, versatile, and effortlessly magnetic. His journey from a small-town boy in Xinjiang to the national stage was the stuff of dreams. He had sung his way into the hearts of millions in dramas that captivated audiences across Asia, and cultivated an image of grace and sincerity that made his sudden death all the more devastating. At only 37 years old, he had much more to give, much more to create, and much more to live for. In the immediate aftermath of his death, his mother stepped forward to release a statement, pleading for compassion. She revealed that her son had fallen from a building after drinking, and that police had determined the tragedy was an accident. Her letter, posted on the official Weibo account of Yu's management company, was filled with grief and exhaustion. She urged fans to stop spreading rumors, to stop feeding the fire of speculation, and to let her family grieve in peace. I hope to return to a quiet life, she wrote, carrying with me the memory of Menglong to live each day. It was a mother's broken plea, written between the lines of immeasurable loss. But the public was not ready to accept silence. On social media, questions multiplied like wildfire. How could a star in the prime of his career, who had just finished filming a major fantasy drama, suddenly fall to his death? Why was he drinking alone? Who was with him that night? Even as the authorities issued their conclusion, no foul play, online voices grew louder, convinced that something darker had transpired. Rumors quickly swirled about rivalries, hidden enemies, and unseen forces in the entertainment industry. The death of a beloved idol was too painful, too shocking, to be explained away as a mere accident. It demanded drama. And in the fertile soil of grief, conspiracy theories bloomed. Some claimed Menglong had been pushed. Others whispered of debts, betrayals, and even assassination. The online chatter became so intense that police were forced to detain several individuals for spreading false information. Yet, for every rumor silenced, 10 more emerged. The weight of speculation reached a tipping point. Faced with mounting pressure, both from the public and from within the industry, police announced that they would reconstruct the scene of Menglong's death. It was a move rarely taken so openly. This meant not only to confirm their findings but also to restore faith in their investigation. But as the night unfolded, the reconstruction would prove to be far more explosive than anyone anticipated. To understand why this moment captured the nation's attention so completely, one must first appreciate who Menglong was to his fans and why his death reverberated like a cultural earthquake. Born in 1988 in Urumqi, Xinjiang, he was a child of quiet determination. From a young age, he immersed himself in music, his voice carrying him to competitions that would eventually land him a spot on Dongfang TV's Talent Search in 2007, where he reached the top 16. For many, that might have been the pinnacle of achievement. For you, it was only the beginning. His breakthrough came in 2015, when he released the song Go Home for New Year's Eve. The track, perfectly timed for the festive season, struck a chord with a nation hungry for nostalgia. It went viral, making you a household name overnight. Later that same year, he found himself in the cast of Go Princess Go, a quirky, boundary-breaking web drama that became a sensation across China and beyond. With that role, Yu proved he was more than just a singer. He was an actor capable of blending charm with depth. Roles in Eternal Love, 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms, and The Starry Night. The Starry Sea solidified his reputation. He wasn't just a rising star, he was cementing his place in the firmament of Chinese pop culture. Fans adored his elegant looks, which seemed to embody a timeless aesthetic, while critics praised his ability to bring sincerity to even the most fantastical roles. By the time of his death, he had multiple projects lined up, including the anticipated fantasy drama Chang Yi. And then came September 11th. That night, everything stopped. The final act in Menglong's life began in a haze of alcohol and ended 6 stories below, his body broken on the pavement. Police, quick to respond, declared it an accident caused by intoxication. The finality of their statement did little to quell the unease. Days that followed, memorials sprung up both online and in the real world. Fans lit candles, shared memories, and wept openly on live streams. Hashtags honoring you trended across Weibo, Douyin, and international platforms. At the same time, others pushed narratives of foul play. The contrast between grief and suspicion tore through the fanbase like a fault line. Even his most loyal supporters divided. It was against this backdrop of mourning, confusion, and rumor that police made the unprecedented decision to reconstruct the night of Menglong's death. They would stage the fall, step by step. The glare of cameras, with reporters present. The message was clear: the public would see for themselves what happened. What was meant to be a demonstration of transparency quickly transformed into the setting for one of the most shocking confessions in Chinese celebrity history. As night fell and the lights blazed around the building where Menglong had spent his final moments, crowds gathered behind barricades. Journalists held cameras aloft, broadcasting live feeds to millions watching online. The air was electric, filled with a tense hum of anticipation. Everyone expected to see a reenactment, perhaps a statement from officials, and then closure. What they got instead was the unraveling of a mystery far darker than anyone had imagined. Because as the reconstruction began, so too did the unraveling of Zhang Yuxuan's carefully hidden secret. The night of the reconstruction will forever be remembered not just as an investigative procedure but as a live spectacle that blurred the line between justice and theater. Police officers in uniform secured the perimeter. Forensic specialists arranged mannequins and harnesses to simulate the trajectory of a fall from the 6th floor. Floodlights turned the quiet street into a stage. The crowd that had gathered whispered anxiously as the reconstruction began. Journalists narrated every detail for the millions watching online. The officers are positioning the stand-in figure at the balcony. One reporter announced breathlessly. They are recreating the exact scenario described in the initial report. Cameras zoomed in on the window ledge where Menglong had allegedly lost his balance. It was a clinical demonstration, designed to quell suspicion. Yet it had the air of a live drama. Came an interruption that no one had expected. A man in plain clothes, flanked by officers, was escorted toward the cordoned-off area. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Within seconds, his identity was confirmed: Zhang Yuxuan. For weeks his name had floated in the background of rumor mills, whispered as someone with knowledge of Yu's final hours. Here he was, not as a witness, but as a central figure in the unfolding truth. Reporters scrambled to capture the moment. The police paused the reconstruction. The focus to Zhang. Under the glare of the lights, his face was pale, his lips trembling as if weighed down by the burden of words unsaid. A senior officer stepped forward and announced that Zhang Yuxuan wished to make a statement. The air thickened, silence sweeping over the scene as every ear tuned in. Shaking hands, Zhang raised the microphone handed to him. His voice cracked at first, then steadied. "Can't carry this anymore," he said. "It wasn't just an accident. I was involved." Gasps erupted from the crowd. Media feeds exploded. For months, fans had argued over whether Yu's death was truly an accident. Now, in a single sentence, the narrative had shattered. Zhang continued, tumbling out like a dam breaking. "I was jealous," he confessed. Menglong had everything: the fame, the admiration, the roles I could never get. I watched him rise while I stayed in the shadows. The success of his felt like another nail in the coffin of my career. But it wasn't just jealousy. I was approached by someone powerful. Someone who wanted him gone. They offered me money, more than I had ever seen in my life. The silence doubt. Enough to tempt me into doing the unthinkable. The crowd was stunned. The confession was worse than any rumor, more chilling than any conspiracy. Zhang admitted that on the night of September 11th, He had been with Menglong. They had been drinking together, talking. Perhaps even arguing. In Yu's state of intoxication. It hadn't taken much. A push, a slip. A moment of betrayal, and the star's life ended 6 stories below. But who is the shadowy figure behind this plot? Zhang. His voice faltering. Refused to name names. Can't, he whispered. Tears streaming down his face. If I say their name, I won't live to see tomorrow. They are too powerful. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Police officers quickly surrounded him. But the damage was done. His confession had already been broadcast live. And within minutes, the internet was ablaze with speculation. Who was the mastermind? Was it someone in the entertainment industry? A business rival? A political figure? Theories proliferated with dizzying speed. For the fans, the revelation was almost unbearable. Social media timelines filled with anguished cries. Why him? How could jealousy end such a beautiful life? Others demanded justice. Their grief transformed into rage. Candlelight vigils turned into protests, with fans demanding that authorities expose the hidden hand behind Zhang's confession. Inside the industry, the shockwaves were equally profound. Colleagues who had worked with Menglong struggled to reconcile the smiling, gracious man they knew with the violent betrayal described by Zhang. Posted tributes online, promising to keep Yu's memory alive. Others remained silent, perhaps fearful of attracting the same shadowy attention that had allegedly orchestrated his death. For Yu's family, the confession was salt in an open wound. His mother, who had begged the world to stop speculating, now faced the cruel confirmation that her son's death was not the accident she had tried to accept. Her words, shared in a follow-up statement, were heart-wrenching. I hoped it was an accident. Because an accident at least is blind fate. To know that someone chose this for my son, someone took him from us out of envy and greed, is unbearable. Meanwhile, the authorities found themselves in a difficult position. On one hand, they had a confession, public, unambiguous, emotionally charged. On the other, they lacked the corroborating evidence to immediately confirm Zhang's story about a mysterious employer. Was Zhang exaggerating? Was he scapegoating? Or was he telling the unvarnished truth? The reconstruction, intended to quiet rumors, had instead ignited a firestorm of new questions. As the investigation deepened, the public's fascination only grew. Analysts dissected Zhang's body language. Lip readers parsed his whispered words. Twitter sleuth flooded forums with theories. Some pointed fingers at rival actors, others at entertainment companies that might have had financial stakes in Yu's downfall. Still others whispered of political connections, hinting at forces far beyond the reach of tabloids. One fact remained undeniable: Menglong was gone, and the manner of his death had transformed from a tragic accident into a murder mystery broadcast live to the world. The cultural implications of this saga cannot be overstated. In China, where celebrity worship is deeply intertwined with nationalism, death became more than personal tragedy. It became a mirror reflecting the darker undercurrents of fame. Fans, who had once adored the glossy images of their idols, confronted the shadows lurking behind the stage lights. The industry, already under scrutiny for its pressures and scandals, renewed calls for reform. How many others, people asked, had been silenced or destroyed in the pursuit of power and profit? Internationally, the story drew comparisons to the most infamous celebrity tragedies of the past. Commentators likened Menglong's fate to that of stars whose lives ended in suspicious circumstances. From Hollywood icons to Asian pop sensations. Element of a live confession, broadcast in real time during a police reconstruction, made this case unique, a chilling convergence of reality, spectacle, and justice. Days turned into weeks. The investigation pressed on. Authorities promised to pursue every lead, including Zhang Yuxuan's claim of a powerful employer. Yet skepticism lingered. Would they truly expose such a figure, if indeed they existed? Or would Zhang be left as the sole villain? His confession used to close the case while the hidden puppet master remained untouchable? For fans, closure remained elusive. Continued to mourn Menglong not just as an actor, but as a symbol of dreams crushed by envy and corruption. His unfinished projects became sacred artifacts. Past performances replayed endlessly online as fans clung to the fragments he left behind. Memorials grew into movements, demanding accountability, demanding truth. Zhang Yuxuan, His life as he knew it was over. Custody, awaiting trial. He was both pariah and pawn, a man who confessed to betrayal but hinted at forces greater than himself. His face, once obscure, became infamous overnight, etched into the public imagination as the villain of a tragedy that transcended fiction. The story of Menglong's death has not yet reached its final chapter. Perhaps it never will. Perhaps the mystery of the faceless figure who paid for betrayal will remain unsolved, lingering like a ghost over the industry. But one thing is certain, the night of September 11th will not be forgotten. It will live on as a symbol of both the heights of fame and the depths of envy. As a cautionary tale about the price of success in a world where admiration and animosity walk hand in hand. And the cameras dimmed. The crowds dispersed. And the reconstruction site returned to silence. But the echoes of that night, the cries of fans, confession of Zhang Yuxuan, the unanswered question of who truly orchestrated Menglong's fall, continue to reverberate across China and beyond. The tragedy is no longer just Menglong's story, it has become a national obsession. A narrative woven into the collective consciousness of millions. As the credits of this live drama rolled, one haunting truth remained: the brightest stars cast the darkest shadows, and sometimes envy is the deadliest stagehand of all.